All right, we're rolling.
All right. So BC's in the works. Like your older brother, were you like? Did you work with him a lot? Or
so he started Fuller when I was in high school, going into senior year, I believe.
What was like?
That was awesome.
Did you know what your brother was doing?
I did. I mean, he enrolled me in some help early on. I remember going to Harvard Square, passing out flyers to people.
Good, cheap labor, yeah.
And entering some of the first restaurant menus on Foodler, which is wild.
Just like manual labor.
Manual data entry, just helping out. So it was really exciting to see that, and then obviously see how that progressed.
Where did that idea come from? Did you just like saw a need for?
I think he was. I don't want to speak for him, but I think he was.
Yeah, go for it.
He was loved the technical challenge. Yeah, you get him in. The technical challenge of it, the excitement to build something using his skill set.
Like web.
He was a Cisco engineer, so
it
was using that and fulfilling the need.
Nice.
So, but when I was helping out with that a bit early on, I was in high school. I never would have dreamed 5 years later starting Dashed, the delivery service.
Okay.
So,
So going through college, like what were you thinking that you were going to do? Or did you have any entrepreneurial
Definitely was thinking marketing, sales, something business related. Was
like within a company?
Within a big company. I was excited about AT&T.
Yeah.
And going down to Atlanta for their training program.
Okay, so you got accepted that? You took that job?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll go through that. Like what were you
So I had applied to this AT&T marketing and sales training program. It was a rotational program, moved around the country. And it started in Atlanta. I remember signing the contract, and my brother and I were having dinner one night discussing a restaurant, a delivery service in Boston, quite a large one that had recently gone out of business.
So Foodler was just a ordering platform. It didn't really have manpower.
It was an ordering platform that had many employees. It had delivery services. It was pretty well established. It was 5 years in, so it was definitely quite successful at that point.
Okay.
But the need from this and the opportunity came out of a delivery service in Boston that went out of business, and they were quite large. They had about 300 restaurants, probably 50 drivers, a lot of customers, and at that point there was just such a gap in the marketplace because customers were looking for delivery from P.F. Chang's. Couldn't do it.
Of course.
Couldn't do it.
Couldn't
get their lettuce wraps.
Every night.
Couldn't get their lettuce wraps, which is a real problem.
Yeah.
And drivers were out of work. And the restaurants themselves were enjoying an additional stream of business that was now no longer there.
Okay.
So
how did they get how dare you think like this thing just went out of business and you're like, yeah, well I can do it better.
There was a lot of service problems. It was slower delivery times is what customers had complained about.
Okay.
It took way too long to get food. They weren't happy with the service provided. So the number one problem was it took way too long to get your food. So that's when I decided to orient the company around speed, calling it Dashed and making everything about the company speed.
But you're going to Atlanta. Where did it?
So I was going to Atlanta.
Okay.
And then I said I wasn't going to Atlanta. Yeah.
You said no to AT&T?
I did.
Did they come and harass you?
I terminated the contract with them. They definitely weren't pleased. And I distinctly remember the recruiter asking me if this was, if I was very sure that I wanted to do this. AT&T was a Fortune 500 company. It's been around for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I responded to her, absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. And
you were sure?
I was excited.
Okay.
I was very excited by the challenge to show that I could do it.
Yeah.
But also, I think the emotions were just anxious and overwhelmed that there wasn't enough time in the day. I mean, I remember literally waking up very early, like 6 or 7 a.m., not sleeping much, but just pounding the pavement, getting out there. There's so much more to do, and I don't have enough time to do it.
All right, so you don't have any manpower.
Just
have this idea. You saw a company kind of do it.
Yep.
And fail and knew where to fix the stuff.
To do it better. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you on two things. One is people 9 to 5 around you. How are you? I have a sales job that allows me some flexibility in a schedule.
Yep.
It took me a while to get used to being around and maybe being around for The Price is Right, where I'd only see that when I was sick or something like that and start the day late. So why aren't you in the like what are your thoughts on like not being in that cookie cutter 9 to 5 thing?
Mm-hmm.
And then also like, are you on your bike at the beginning?
Yep.
How are you making these deliveries? And what are you just like, I assume leveraging your brother's relationships to get on.
So it was very exciting in the beginning. I mean, I had a blast. I was doing all the deliveries on my own, on my bicycle. I had started with signing up restaurants in the North End. I started with a restaurant called Maurizio's.
That's the first one?
First one.
Okay.
On Hanover Street. Still
Yeah.
there, still one of our partners. Great restaurant.
Yes.
And the first step is to sign up restaurants to get on the program and on the platform.
Yeah. But you don't have a steady income coming in.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. So get out there. So you have to get out there and do this. You've got to get started.
You need some money.
So I would get out there, sign up restaurants. The restaurants would go up on Food Alert, and the first day there was literally one order.
Okay.
I'm on my Trek mountain bike.
Are you just like sitting by the telephone? Like
I get an order on my phone.
Okay.
And it was going from the North End to the South End. Clearly remember it, and made it happen. You just do the delivery. It's not rocket science. It's really simple.
Here.
Yeah.
Bring it there.
But what was cool about it was, how do you get it there? As I did more and more orders, so that was the first day. The next day maybe I did 2 orders, and then 3 orders, and so on. But it's how do you do it faster? So
the route?
The route, yeah.
Okay.
So I made it a game for myself, like a competition against myself, saying I can go this way and get the delivery there faster. Can I get a new personal best from the North End to the South End in this amount of time?
What if you were fat? Aren't you lucky that you're like? Aren't you lucky that you
my genes, I guess, for that.
I guess, yeah. That's where I guess the running and the hockey.
I guess so. It all paved the way. So just cycling, doing the deliveries, but it was very, very slow at first. I mean, doing a couple orders a day was something that I could manage for a couple weeks. So the challenge was find restaurants that customers wanted delivery from. The bigger brands, P.F. Chang's, Maggiano's, Pinkberry, restaurants like that. Very popular for us now.
Like stuff that's melting?
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Pinkberry is a challenge for sure. But those didn't come until later because I was so new.
Yeah, right.
You have to build trust to bring on a company like that.
Was like Seamless and these other businesses, were they already kind of established? They already have partnerships, or
they work with other delivery services.
Okay.
And they're not very large in Boston where I started.
Okay.
So it was a matter of going after some, building relationships with restaurants throughout Boston who would understand what my focus was, and that was speed, how I would do it better than the previous company, and focusing on one neighborhood at a time. So bringing on a lot of restaurants in the North End, then moving to the next neighborhood, explaining to them, talk to my restaurants in the North End. Look,
you have referrals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then if I'm a big believer in just action, so I said try it out for a week. If you don't like it, call me on my cell phone.
Oh, interesting.
We'll stop. We'll stop. And no one stopped. It's like, so it's just seeing how we were actually doing it was huge to them.
Okay.
And then just keep rolling it out from there.
Cool. Nice. All right. So if you're doing 1 order or 2 orders in a day, like how were you taking out like loans? Did you ask to borrow money from?
Didn't have to. No. It was.
Like where were you living too? Right. You need at least like whatever amount for rent.
Well, I had a great sublet that was quite inexpensive in Boston, but it was this phase didn't last too long. It was didn't have to take out any loans or anything, but wanted to get to the point where obviously it was self-sustaining. So a couple of weeks of doing deliveries on my own, once I hit 10 to 15 orders, it was more than I could do, and I would see that. Okay, I was averaging, say, 42 minutes in the beginning. Now we're doing 17, 18 orders. My times are 60, 65 minutes.
Yeah.
I need to hire somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? So I need to bring on another cyclist. So then that's when I would bring on another cyclist and basically realize, here's how many orders one person can do in a shift. Now bring on another person and another person and another person. So once the volume was there, I was able to bring on someone else to support me.
Okay.
And expand it that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Were these restaurants at any time like worried that you might sully their name? Maybe if you were eating the product along the way, or like tasting it
them.
or something?
I don't know.
Because I wouldn't.
It's honestly one of the
marinara sauce. I need some,
it's one of the challenges for sure. Restaurants are a very take a lot of pride in their food for good reason.
Yeah.
The food is their baby. So to have them trust you and my staff to deliver their food is basically an extension of their brand. So it's really important. So the way I look, the way our carriers look, represent every one of our restaurants. So it's really important that they see that we're professional, representing that the way that they would want to be represented when they're at the door. So it's a hurdle to this day.
Right.
It's become a lot easier because restaurants see what kind of service we're running. But in the beginning, absolutely, that was one of the biggest challenges.
Well, so it went through, like, if you were to order through Foodler in any one of these first restaurants
we brought on, yep,
they automatically go through you.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Any of the restaurants that were delivered by Dashed would go to us.
Yep. And you're showing them that how much extra customer interaction or business that they could get off of your stuff.
Yeah, because they didn't deliver before.
Okay.
Right. So it's they're focused on the in-house experience, how many guests they can bring in-house, but now, oh great, I'm doing an extra whatever it may be per night thanks to this delivery.
What's your mindset for like a goal at that time, or you just kind of keep pushing, just like this podcast? I have no idea. I have no idea where it's going to go. But okay, we did 15 regular podcasts.
I'll tell you where it needs to go.
Let's
You
do
need
a
to
video.
monetize this podcast.
What?
You need to monetize this podcast. I'm serious. When you're ready. Yeah.
All right.
I've told you that for a while.
Dashed. So like, what do you have an end game, or I know at some point you probably are like, okay, we could probably do this in multiple cities. And I'm sure that's an early thought in your brain. But do you want to go like 100 deliveries in a day, or what's the?
Yep. There were definitely milestones along the way, and they were totally order based.
Okay.
You're dead on.
Just numbers.
Yeah,
Okay.
like 100 orders a day, 200 orders a day. Keep bringing it up, because there's a big difference between a delivery service doing 10 orders a day, me doing deliveries on my bike, and doing 100, 200, 300, 400, etc.
Yeah.
So those were the goals. And that's how I motivate myself to bring on quality restaurant relationships, keep the delivery times and speed as low as possible.
Okay.
And keep offering a good service so people would come back.
How are you explaining to your friends what you're doing during this time? Like, yeah, well,
I'm sure I told you.
Are you a pizza delivery guy? Is that what's going on?
I'm a delivery boy. Yeah, I still am. Yeah. So. It's telling them that this is what I'm doing, and it's long hours. I think, it's definitely a challenge to balance personal relationships at that point early on.
Well, especially if it's not like, oh, I do sales, I do finance,
Yep.
I'm in law school, I'm a doctor,
right?
Whatever. Like,
right.
You're kind of like,
it's not a profession that people immediately recognize or understand when you explain it to them. So. I don't think I had too many conversations about it. I really had my head down. I didn't go out much.
Right.
I didn't really chat with people too much.
You didn't return my calls.
Yeah, exactly. So
like you still don't.
Yeah. Somehow we got here today. We almost done. Yeah.
Okay. So give me the time frame.
Yeah.
So you started
2009, July 7th, 2009. So coming up on our 5-year in about a week or two. Thank you.
Where did you feel comfortable that you could, like, this is going to keep growing and be, like, 2 years in, 3 years in?
After the first year, I think it was, a point where we're making money and see that it's sustainable. So,
and you probably see, like, a bunch of other stuff, like the skew is toward people wanting it.
Exactly. The demand and the feedback that we received was, this is exactly, what we wanted. We should be able to get this restaurant delivered in 45 minutes. So we were again knocking the competition socks off in terms of speed and delivery times, and we just kept focused on that. And the bicycles and the scooters early on were really important for that.
First scooter?
Yep.
Yeah.
First Vespa.
Like a Vespa?
Vespa, yeah.
Okay.
Yellow Vespa. We painted. Actually, even put a Dash sign on the back.
Don't you love? I love early logos that are kind of like look like they were made in a kindergarten paint class.
So we have a great example of that. It was, we had our logo has changed once in the past.
Right, it used to be a stick figure.
It used to be a stick figure, yeah, which was very much a college creation, and it shows that offering good service can really trump a logo that wasn't very mature or polished by any means.
Yeah.
So about 2 years ago, we've grown up and are professionalized, I think, the image and the brand much more so.
Nice. So first, what's the next city that you're trying to?
Providence was the next one.
Okay.
At
That's
the
just
time.
geographically, like.
Yep, close to
naturally.
Boston. A mini Boston in some ways.
Yeah.
That it's.
Boston Junior.
I love Providence. Great
Yeah, it's
restaurants. Great college population, like Boston.
Is that like a huge
That's a
consumer base?
Yes, for sure. Yep.
Okay.
So that was important.
Gotcha.
And went down there, replicated what worked in Boston, in Providence, and then that was an exciting time too, because again we saw it work in Providence in our second city. Gave me the motivation to keep expanding.
So if you're on your bike solo, you can pretty much like take chances and
Yep.
nobody cares because it's just you.
Right.
So when you started getting employees, what was that dynamic like at that point, or partners or employees or delivery?
For me?
Yeah. Like what were because now you're responsible for other people.
Yeah,
too.
it's a matter of keeping them busy, making sure they're happy. The last thing I wanted was to have too many drivers on at one point because it's a delivery service. We need to keep moving. They're making money when they're making deliveries.
Okay.
That's the way we've structured our business. So it's if they're not making a delivery, they're not making anything. So in the same way that airlines don't want planes grounded and they want airlines to be moving around and constantly flying, we always want a carrier to have a package on board to making a delivery.
Okay.
And we do optimization to make sure that's happening.
Like geographical,
Exactly.
I assume. Okay.
Yep. So to be efficient about where they're going and make sure they can do as many deliveries per hour as we can give them.
What's that like? Like trying to. So here's your restaurant right in say Brighton,
Yep.
and then you just have the surrounding.
Anna's Taqueria.
Yeah. Right. So like, is there a limit of how far out you can order, and then you push station that person
Yep.
smack in the middle?
So we'll design zones
Yep.
and make sure that they're, large enough to encompass a good customer base, but small enough so that we keep the quality there. Because the temptation is for delivery services like mine to go too far.
Yeah.
And because you'll get more business, it's easy. Like expand
yeah.
your delivery zone, you get more business.
Yeah.
But you'll
I want stuff in like South
Sure.
or the North End.
Yeah.
Can't get.
But it's the quality of the food would suffer,
Right.
and that would make the restaurant look bad and make us look bad. So keeping the zones intentionally tight and reasonable is important.
Cool.
But in that example, yeah. So there's say Mike orders from Anna's Taqueria on Harvard
I walk
Ave.
there every
Yep.
other day probably.
And
but yeah.
you're in Beacon Hill, right? So we would fire up the order at Anna's Taqueria, bring it down to you, but at the same time be firing up an order at Beacon Hill Hotel and Bistro, on Charles Street.
Okay.
So when the carrier drops at your place, he already has that food waiting for him right at the restaurant below where you live.
Oh, cool.
So it's just like connecting the dots,
Yeah.
moving around to make sure they never have downtime.
Nice. Are you in Chicago at this point?
Yes.
All right, so Chicago, maybe San Francisco, and like kind of what you learned from that.
Sure.
And those endeavors. So.
Yep. It was. We're much more reliant on having good, reliable, and committed managers when you expand.
Okay.
Especially remotely.
Yeah.
They're the faces. They are really going to make or break you.
Okay.
So it's really important to obviously have people who share your values and are
Are
committed.
you helping? Or are you asking your brother for advice like during this? Like, who are your because in a corporation you're like, oh, that so and so is this VP and he takes a liking to X person, and then they get brought up, but you have nobody really that's overseeing you, like you're
Right.
running the thing. So
Right.
who are you looking to for advice? Maybe BC people, your brother. or
Sure.
something like that?
My family provided invaluable advice.
Okay.
It's such a good support structure, and they definitely did. But I think you
I've been
also
hearing that a lot actually on most of these podcasts.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I had good parents, like
for sure
so you can just fall back.
the
on
best
them.
parents.
Yeah.
I really did. Really do. The other thing I would say though is there's a lot to be said about just doing and learning from doing. So it's great to get advice, and it is really helpful. But I was always with the approach to just act, try it, experiment with it, learn from it, and move forward. Because I think you can spend a lot of time in that talking, planning phase, and not actually doing.
Oh, without a doubt.
You know,
this thing
with anything.
It took
with
me
anything
2
in
years
life.
to actually do this.
Right. And aren't you happy you're doing it right now?
Yeah.
And how
Totally.
much do you learn from actually doing it?
Right. Each one. It's
Versus
okay.
you can't anticipate every challenge or shortfall or success, whereas it starts taking shape on its own. I think when you actually start doing things,
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened with me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So the other endeavors or something, maybe what you learned from San Fran or.
Sure. So San Francisco was an example of expanding too quickly, spreading ourselves too thin.
Yeah, it's a total opposite.
Total opposite. You know, it was a challenging expansion for us. So we decided to reinvest in our stronger markets that were growing more quickly. In Philadelphia.
What'd you learn from San Fran? Like, what were was it the manager?
It was the importance of a quality management, but also I would say focusing on doing one market at a time.
Yeah.
So right now we open up one city, and we invest in that city and grow it until we're comfortable and we're happy with where it is. Then we'll go on to the next.
Okay, so you were splitting your time between the East Coast and the West Coast still?
Exactly.
Very much so?
Yep.
Okay.
Whereas going forward, we're opening Philly, moving down to Philly. I'm getting an apartment in Philly, bringing my sales team down. We're going to get up to 100 restaurants. Then we're going to launch. You know, so it was a matter of just focusing in all resources on one city, getting it to a good point, and then saying, okay, Philly's done. Let's go on to Baltimore.
Okay.
Like that.
Nice. Cool, man. So coming up on the 5-year, anniversary, talk about like your ink profile that's got to inflate the ego rather nicely.
No.
So, yeah, in the magazine.
That was a surprise, honestly. It was.
So, like maybe that realm, because that's what like we were talking about before. There's these podcasts and these other things. Like there becomes this subculture underneath, and now everybody's doing each other's thing.
Subculture.
So. Right, like a
Sounds
podcasting.
weird.
Yeah, it is weird. Believe me.
No subculture.
Yeah. Say nothing.
I'm running a delivery service. Yeah.
So ink and then like other things. So you do you like to publish some articles. So
Sure,
just like
yeah.
how you got into that. Is that like a huge market unto itself? Just tips and
It's
advice.
a market, but it's the ink is a great publication, great people. I'm really grateful that they wanted to tell my story. They were the first time. It was the first time we were ever covered by a major publication.
Did you submit into a
I submitted to the Inc. 5000,
Okay.
the list of the fastest growing companies, and we made that list at number 119 fastest growing last year. But then their editors contacted me to do the profile that you're referring to. So that was a complete surprise, and I was very grateful for that.
Hell yeah.
Cool. But it was awesome it was a story in my own words too, which was cool. So it wasn't a third party, telling it. It was in my own words.
Right.
So that was cool. So that opened up the doors because it was the first time we were ever covered on a national level, and definitely got me involved with entrepreneurial groups, meeting new people, and to your point about writing some more.
Yeah.
That was something I do much more recently now.
The Heights. Yeah, man.
But it goes back to the Heights and writing at Boston College.
Yep.
But I loved writing. I hadn't flexed that muscle in 4.5 years, so it's been fun to write again. And I do it because I enjoy it. And some articles people love and find a lot of good things in. I know you do hot cold showers now.
I did. When I woke up this morning and I just took a shower, I was like, I got to just do this for. I was trying to think about it in the shower, but like I was like,
And aren't you feeling great?
I feel great. I am energetic. I only needed 1 coffee today instead of 2.
I recommend all you try it. But some articles really resonate with people. Others are more industry specific, may resonate with restaurateurs or whoever it may be. But I love to write. I'll continue to write, and whatever publication picks it up and whoever enjoys it, that's great. So
cool, man. All right.
Definitely a side kind of hobby.
Yeah.
So
it's good.
Yeah,
It gets you extra
it's fun.
exposure in
Yeah,
business
it's fun.
and stuff. Okay, so wrapping it up, drones. How close are we? Are we eliminating all the delivery service? Is there no more Vespas and no more smart cars?
I think
or is it just going to be dashed drones from now on?
It's a ways off. It is. No, it really is. Yeah.
Okay. Joking aside, like the
I'm not
delivery
joking.
thing of oh god.
The FAA just yesterday said that Amazon couldn't basically start using drones for delivery. I mean, the people who are going to start using drones our Amazons of the world.
Sure.
I appreciate the compliment,
No
but
problem. But I'm just saying,
But-
like everything comes to your house.
Yes.
The food now.
The future.
Even like the there's services where like here are all your ingredients in case you actually want to cook, and subscription services and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So like, is this? And I know you've expanded beyond food. You've done like Christmas stuff, or so yeah. Just talk about like how much stuff like is going to get delivered to my house.
Right.
And how quickly is it going to happen? And like, where's this all going?
How much stuff's going to get delivered to your house?
So yeah,
everything.
Yeah, it's all.
That's where it's going.
It's all in black plastic.
Yeah. Anything you want, if it's legal, it will be delivered to your house.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it's going. It's such an exciting time for the delivery industry. There's a lot of attention on it. You see a lot of new players coming into it, which is just going to mean more competition, which means better service for customers, more choices, more options. It raises the bar for everybody, so it's exciting. But like you said, I mean, grocery, laundry, alcohol, Christmas trees, whatever it may be, we're moving in that direction. It's already happening, and there are companies these days that even will pick up your packages so that another company can deliver it, like UPS.
Wait, go explain.
Which is great. I haven't used it, but I want to. It sounds great. So if you have a package you want to ship, I don't know the name of it, but you would
to bring it to
they
UPS?
would bring it to UPS to go ahead and deliver it.
Is it
So
are
that-
we
that's
just
where
super
we're heading.
lazy at this point?
It's convenience.
Yeah.
It's convenience, and I would be honestly the first person to stand behind that, because like time is money, and if now you have with us too, instead of having to cook, which takes time, or go out and pick something up, or go out and sit down and have a 2-3 hour meal, you order from us, from your favorite restaurant. It's a good restaurant. And you have your favorite meal. What can you do in that time?
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. What can you do?
Shoot, man.
You tell me. What would you do in that time that you have?
Probably
there?
watch TV and waste it. Yeah.
So but that's great.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. That's the point. You do whatever you want.
I can come up with funny lines.
Exactly.
To quote.
You can
from,
watch TV. You
yeah.
can read. You can go to the gym.
I need that other
So
rerun of Seinfeld. Definitely.
Point is, it gives you the time back. So any of these delivery companies, anybody doing that is giving you the time back. It's giving you the convenience.
Cool, man. Well, yeah. So usually,
Go for a couple more minutes if you want.
Yeah. So basically, well, this is the last. So usually, if it's the podcast, I say, "Do you have anything to plug?" But you've obviously so like talk about like the towns that you're in and stuff.
Sure.
And cities.
Sure. So
rather.
Dashed is in 6 cities now. We have over 600 restaurants.
So Boston, Providence, Chicago,
Baltimore, Philly, Hoboken, Jersey City.
Okay.
Yep. And we're growing.
Just beyond the river.
Yes, we're growing quickly. We've got a great model. We're really happy with where we've been. We have a whole lot more to do. We're excited about the growth, and we're going to keep expanding and offering great delivery. So that's where we're at right now.
What about the future?
We'll continue to open new cities.
Yep.
As we have been at a rapid rate. We'll continue to
Do you use like Google Maps, or do you use to navigate everything?
Google Maps is one of the tools we use for sure.
Okay.
It's a great one, but it also comes down to a lot of human judgment to understand when the Red Sox are playing, what are the quickest routes when the Red Sox are playing, when it rains, when it snows, how do we navigate, also using Google and other tools for traffic.
Okay.
But there's a lot that goes into it to make sure that we're finding the best route.
Nice.
But as far as expansion goes, continue to open up new cities, so geographic expansion, but also continue to roll out more smart cars throughout
That's
our
your
cities.
main vehicle of transportation at this point?
About 75% of our deliveries are now done by a smart car, bicycle, or scooter.
Okay.
Which is more than anybody else in our space.
Yeah, because they're easy to park and
extremely
double
nimble,
park. Yeah,
easy to
all
park.
that
They're
stuff,
tiny. They also all have commercial plates on it, so that allows us to park in the best parking spots in front of our restaurants, which again brings down our delivery times.
Oh, okay. I never even thought of that. But
It's the smart cars have been excellent, been well received by all, and we'll be continuing to roll out more smart cars. On average, our smart cars do deliveries over 25% faster than a non-smart car. They save 60% on gas. It's a total win all around. So we'll keep doing that.
Cool, man.
Going
Until
forward.
I can 3D print my food. That sounds good to me, man.
Well, I got something coming for you. So all right.
Thanks, Phil. All right, buddy. I think that's pretty much
Did
it.
we get it all?
How are you feeling? You good? Sweaty?
I'm nervous. No, I feel fine, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Is it possible to just get us both in one shot?
Yeah.
I'd like that. Come on over. We're making history today
Yeah.
with Mike's first videocast
Yeah.
for his podcast.
Nice.
So
tune into more videos, more radio.
kicked it off strong here today.
Yeah. More radio podcasts, and we're just 20 and 30-something-year-old dudes doing unique things. We're going to hear their stories and keep evolving. So that's it. Cool.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes. You're welcome. Thank you.
It's good work, good.
Yeah. That was nice.
Hopefully it comes out well.
Yeah.